Hello Flosstube, welcome to my channel. My name's Catherine and this is Coco Cross Stitcher. Today is Friday the 30th of April and this is my channel about cross stitching. So thank you for visiting and hope you'll enjoy what I have to show you. I mainly just recap on what I've been doing over the month and share plans for next month with you. This month I do have an FFO. I will do my current whips, have a little bit of haul. I've got my Blackbird weekend stitch along to share with you, a little bit of Stitch Mania, and at the end just a little bit of some sewing that I've been doing. So I think we've got a few things here we can discuss today. Here in the UK we're coming up to bank holiday weekend at the beginning of May, and in typical fashion of a British bank holiday, the weather forecast is not looking too good, so maybe a bit of rain here and there. It's been quite nice up to now, so hopefully this will be the last time that you see the lockdown hair. Here in the UK we have over the last couple of weeks just started to come out of a big lockdown that we've been in since the new year, so everybody's trying to rush to the hairdressers. Mine is next week, can't wait. So yeah, I've also got an appointment at the opticians, which is long overdue, so that will get going as well. I'm just trying to gradually ease ourselves into things a little bit again, see how we get on. So thank you to anybody who has recently subscribed to my channel. It means a lot to me and I'm really pleased that you're enjoying catching up with me and looking at the projects that I'm working on. If you do want to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button. There's also a little bell next door which will notify you of the videos that I upload. Thank you also to everybody who left me some really lovely comments last month, and thank you to all the suggestions for my Henry VIII piece as well. It was lovely to read everything, and also if you like my video, if you click the thumbs up, it would be really good. And just generally thank you to anybody who is watching and is interested in what I've been doing. So let's get on. I've got a few things here. I have got some notes. Generally I just get so tongue-tied, forget what I'm going to say, and look at my notes and think I didn't really say that. So I'm going to try today, keep on top of what's on my desk, and we'll see how we go. So first off, I'm still doing my book of days. I'm really enjoying this. It's just a bit of fun really, just to keep up with things. So here is an example of April, very colourful. I decorate my pages with rubber stamps and stickers, and the coloured parts that I colour in are all for, I have a colour code at the bottom for new starts, finishes, stitch alongs, and any goals that I achieve. So I'm really enjoying just keeping on top of this, and it's just a fun way to record things as I go along. So let's go with my fully finished object. So last month, if you watched my video, I did say that I wanted to start this summer sampler by Little House Needleworks. So I did make a start. I quite enjoyed stitching it, and I ended up carrying on monogamously stitching it for quite a few days and ended up finishing it. So I thought, right, we will fully finish it. So here is my finished version. I was actually putting some pictures to the charity shop that I didn't want anymore, and I really looked back at this frame and thought, I'm going to keep this frame because I think this piece will fit nicely into there, and I think it really has fitted nicely into there, so I'm glad I kept this frame. So it's just plain, but I think it really brings out this, and I'm really pleased with the way that it's come out and been finished off. So that's my fully finished object for this month. So we'll go into the current whips and recap what I've managed to do this month and what I kind of plan to do with them next month. So the first one, I don't have a chart to show you because this is a stitch along with the linen and threads, and it's a stitch along where you get a part released each month. I'm actually doing the stitch along from last year, so I have all 12 parts, but I'm doing it as a yearly project, and just sticking to one part each month, because I think it's fun that way. I've put my pieces onto board this week because it's easier for me to hold them, and then fabric's not flopping around everywhere. So we'll see how this goes. So this month, this big flower bit was the part that was being stitched. It took quite a number of days to stitch that one little bit there. Was quite a lot of stitching in it. It's quite a big motif in comparison to the rest of things. So, but I think it's coming along really well. And I really like the way the colour, the thread colour. This is DMC 115, which is a variegated red colour. And I'm really enjoying the way this one is stitching up. So my plan for next month will be to do the part for May. And then I'll be able to show you how it's progressing after that. Number 2 is Seeking Refuge by the Scarlett House. I really loved this one, more that the verse drew me into this sampler, but I've really enjoyed stitching on it. This is a big house with a lot of windows, but I did eventually get there. So my progress on this one, last time I did a video, I had done this and the house. So my plan for this month was to finish the other side and put in this border, which I've managed to achieve. I won't say that this didn't come without some trial and tribulation. In fact, I don't know why I was having a problem, but I seem to be having a problem lining it up, and I had to do a little bit of frogging here and there. So in the end, I decided to put this border in and work up from here so that both dogs are together and everything matches up. So I'm really pleased with the way this is coming along, and as I say, I love stitching this, so it's getting there. So my plan for next month, I'm hoping to stitch in the verse. I'd like to get that stitched in, and then it will just be the border at the bottom after that. So that's that one. Number 3 is Autumn Quakers by Rosewood Manor. I love this one. I just love all the single motifs that are in there, all the colours, just everything about this one I really love. I've chosen to do mine in a variegated thread, so I'm not doing lots of colour changes here and there, but I've chose a thread that works with the autumn theme. So this is how far I have got so far. So last month I think I basically was finishing off this big motif here. I've added in some leaves and I've managed to do this motif here. So it's looking really well, I think, and the colours are working really well, and I'm really enjoying stitching this. So we'll carry on with this one, and I think I will possibly look at coming over this side here and getting in this motif and a little bit, then I'll have an idea of the dimensions and where I'm going from each part as I go along. Excuse me. So number 4, I think. This was the dilemma last month. What did I do with regards to this very old whip that I've had for nearly 5 years? If you watched my video last month, you'll remember that I had, because this had been left in a bag for so long with a hoop on, there was a mark on the fabric and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. So thank you to all of you who left me a suggestion. I've decided to carry on, as I had done quite a bit and it seemed a shame to stop, and I'll sort out what I'm going to do with how much it shows and what I'm going to do with it as I go along. So this is Henry VIII as it is. It's quite big, so I might have to disappear to show you this one. Last weekend was a 24-hour stitching event. I wasn't able to join in personally into groups with people, but I did stitch at home for the event, and I made the aim that I was going to finish Henry VIII. It took a lot of stitching, but I got there. There is a lot of back stitching involved in this chart, and I think once the back stitching goes in is when the characters really come to life and show out. I know they kind of blend a little bit here at the moment, especially when you're stitching white on white for his legs. But I'm so glad that I've managed to get him into place now, because I'll be able to get the wives in, and I really actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching him come to life, and got really back into the rhythm of stitching a piece with so many colour changes and so much shading. So as you can see, I'm trying to hold it here, this may be my little problem bit here. This will be covered and this will be covered, but this won't. So I'm going to carry on and I'm going to see what I can do. I'm not going to be deterred from it, because I really would like to finish this piece, and we'll come to that bit when we come to it. So at least it's back on the go again, and at least it will get finished, which is my real big aim for this year. So my next one are my 2 Bothy thread kits with Alice in Wonderland that I am doing. The first one is I'm Late. So last month I had completed the top part here, and I was aiming to come down to this part here. Now, because we're going down, and most of us know, into the rabbit hole, the stitching becomes a lot more dense and a lot more coverage over this part, and I really have to concentrate to make sure I get all this little bit of detail and pattern in the correct way. So this is the progress for this month. So I started here and realised how much dense stitching there really was in this part, and I was a bit worried I was going to get confused in areas. So I thought, I'm going to put the rabbit in, and then that way I can just work around and know that everything's going to fit in properly. So my plan for next month is to continue working all this dense stitching around here so that I can finish this part up and then move across and work along. But this one has a little bit of metallic thread in, which I think looks lovely, and I just love the way that it works. It's stitched with 3 strands of thread to give it that really dense look that you see, but I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. And the final one of the 2 kits is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So last month I had stitched this sort of area in, and my aim for this month was to come over to this side. So that's what I've managed to achieve. I've managed to fit in most of it. There's a little bit of back stitching where you're adding all these details of the leaves, which I've not managed to do just yet, but that will be my plan for next month. Go in, fill in all the leaves to make the tree come alive, and then start to come down onto this patterned area here somewhere, the tablecloth. And at least we now know who's at the tea party. And I think this one, I love the little clock in here. I love the way it's in between the trees and all this little bunting hanging off the sides. So that's coming along nicely as well. So that's all my current whips, big large whips that are in progress. What I've actually done and what I'm hoping to do next month with them. So let's see, what should we do now? We'll go on to some of the haul, and then we can. So I've been wanting to do a reproduction sampler, but I've been trying to find one that had my name in. And this month I actually have found one. This is a From the Heart reproduction. It's Catherine Jessie White, 1891. It's a lovely sampler, so it has my name on, and it's actually a British sampler as well. They have got the history with the sampler, and it's also got a little British crown, which I really like. So I'm really pleased that I found this one, and this is going to be my new sampler start. I'll try and put in some stitches next month, but I'm really happy with this one, and I just love the fact that it's got my name in it. So it's stitched on white, so I'm not actually sure if I'm going to stitch it on that same colour or if I might change the colour around. I'm going to have a look for some fabric and see what works with the flosses and the colour choices that are in there. My next piece of haul will go on to combining with it's Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs. So Brenda and Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter are having a new stitch along, which is starting tomorrow, the first weekend of every month, involving a Blackbird design chart. So I thought it would be really fun to join in with everybody, and this is one that I've been wanting to start for a while. So I thought, right, this is what I will do. So I'm going to be joining in with the stitch along. I'll put the link down below, but it's Blackbird Weekend Stitch Along, I think. But you can find out all the details on Brenda and Laura's Flosstube. I think there's quite a lot of people joining in with this, which is really nice. And this would just be something at the beginning of every month, first weekend of every month, that I work on. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I've also, it is the month of May and Stitch Mania. So as I am new back to cross stitch from a little bit of a break, I gather Stitch Mania, people used to do a set thing, but now they're doing their own thing, their own way they want to do it. And I don't really want to involve too many projects for me, because I've got quite a lot going on as well, which I'm enjoying and want to keep going. So I've decided I've never done a Mirabilia before, so I've decided to do Mirabilia Mania. So I have two Mirabilias. This is Princess Elliana. The colours are just beautiful. I really, really love this one. It kind of has an autumny feel to me, but I just love the detail and the colours that are involved in this one. And the other one is Queen Bee, which I just love. If I was a queen, I'd want to be Queen Bee. So I have these two Mirabilias, and the way that I'm planning to do my Stitch Mania is I'm going to take each one and work 15 days on one and then 15 days on the other. So typically on a day for me, I will get up in the morning and I will make myself a cup of coffee and I go and sit in my stitching chair and I stitch for 1 hour. That gets me going for the day. It's my little bit of time, and that's what I find works for me. So I have decided that these two Mirabilias over the 15 days will be my 1 hour stitch in the morning. So over the Mania month, I will stitch 15 hours on each one. Then my plan will be to just keep working on them both throughout the year, from May this year to May next year, and complete them within the year. And I think that will work really well for me, along with all my current whips that I've got in progress and other bits and bobs that my stitch alongs, and other seasonal things that I would like to stitch in between, and I will be able to keep up with these two. So that's my Stitch Mania plans for next month. Right, so we've done that. I'm just making sure I've done everything on my desk. That's mainly all my cross-stitching news for this month, as far as things go. I have been making some project bags. I don't keep my fabric in project bags. That's my own personal choice. I keep my patterns and I keep my flosses and threads and anything else associated to that pattern and kit, but I don't keep the fabric in. I have a bathroom towel rail, a wooden bathroom towel rail that sits in the corner of my sewing room, and all my big pieces of fabric, when they're not being stitched on, are hung over the rails of this towel rail. For me, I find it personally works. My fabric's not getting creased and folded all the time. It's laying flat, and I find it just works for me. I don't find that it gets dusty or dirty in any way, and it's not in an area where any damage can happen to the pieces. But I find that I just like them hanging loose over the rail, and then I can just go and pick the one that I'm working on. But as I say, I do use project bags to keep the charts in, all the threads and anything else associated with that pattern and chart itself. So because we're doing the Strawberry Fields Forever weekend stitch along, this was the first bag that I made, and as you can see, I know exactly what's going to be in this bag. My Strawberry Fields Forever. So it's just plain, my kit's in here, my charts in here, my threads are in here, everything that I need for that stitch along. I also made this one. I just love this fabric, and this is the one that I've got my Autumn Quakers chart and threads in. Again, I like to coordinate the bag with the project that I'm doing. I know where everything is. The next one I made this kind of patriotic to me, but this is for Henry VIII. So my chart, my floss, everything is in here, and I know which one it is. And the final one I made this week was using a panel that I had with this on, and I thought it was lovely. It's just backed with some other fabric, but I really enjoyed this one, and it's just another bag so I can keep some bits and bobs in as I go along. So finally, this is something a little bit different, but something that I enjoy doing in between with my cross stitch. I do some English paper piecing. Now, that's just what I call it. It's got lots of terms. I think, you know, patchwork, quilting on the go. I've always known it as English paper piecing. And that's what I learnt it as a long time ago. So the aim, I like English paper piecing because it's hand sewing. I don't have to get my sewing machine out. I don't have to measure seams, and I don't have to line things up as such. And it's something that I can just do in with my cross stitching, just to relax. And you can take it on the go with you. I can take it in the car. If I'm waiting for an appointment, I can have it in my bag and just hand stitch along a little bit. So at the moment, I'm just making 2 little mini quilts panels that I'm going to make. So this is the first one. Now this is taken from the grandmother's flower garden pattern. And this is the second one. So I'm kind of making little spring panels, which I'm going to try and finish off into little mini quilts, and then I'll be able to hang them up on a pole in the house. So how I work, there are so many ways of doing this, so many tutorials out there and different ways that people work, but the way that I do mine, and it just works for me, is I have a template which I use to cut my fabric out. I use a punch to punch my paper pieces out. The reason why I use this one is I have a bit of arthritis in my hands, and this one I can just easily punch paper pieces out. The bit of fabric I then baste over the paper piece, and then the individual pieces are hand sewn together to make this piece. Then I remove the paper pieces, give it a good press, and this is now appliqued onto this background. So I can then go in and I can quilt the background if I want. I can add hand embroidery to the piece. I can do whatever I want to it, really. It's just a little mini quilt, nothing, you know, it's only for home decoration in my home, but it's just something I enjoy doing, something I find relaxing, and something that doesn't need a lot of equipment taking out or anything like that. It's an easy thing to do. Like I say, there are lots of ways of doing it, lots of different ways people do it. There are lots of tutorials and ideas on the internet, but I just do it the way that I like to do it and the way that suits me. It's meant to be relaxing, and I'm going to have 2 nice little quilt panels to put in my home when I'm finished. And it's using up lots of fabric as well that I hoard just like everybody else. So that's just a little bit of something different to the cross stitch that I work on, and I hope you may have enjoyed seeing that. So really that's all I have for this month. I'll continue with my works in progress. I'm really looking forward to joining in with the Blackbird Stitch Along weekend. I'm also really looking forward to making a start on the 2 Mirabilias for Stitch Mania, and keep going with my English paper piecing panels. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed catching up with me and my ramblings a little bit. Stay safe, everybody. Like I say, we are just coming out of lockdown here in the UK, so we're easing out slowly, bit by bit, and we'll ease out a little bit more next month, and fingers crossed we're going in the right direction here. Yeah, so stay safe. Happy stitching to everybody, whether you're doing Stitch Mania or not, whatever you're working on. Just have fun, enjoy your stitching. Thank you very much for staying to the end and catching up with me. I've really enjoyed talking about all my stuff, and I will see you all next month, hopefully. Take care. Thank you.